Hey, I'm Mike. This is the Small Stars channel, and we're talking about something crazy. Regular people in space, totally unqualified, non-astronauts, in low Earth orbit. Look at the definition in those clouds. I would go as far as to say this is the best video ever taken on a smartphone ever in history. And of course, this was from the Inspiration 4 mission. There's a whole documentary on Netflix called The Countdown, if you want to learn more about the Inspiration 4 mission. But civilians went to space, and they had the time of their lives. So I'm looking towards the future, and SpaceX, the company that built this biggest window ever sent to space, is building what's going to be the biggest rocket ever launched into orbit, the SpaceX Starship. I gotta give a big shout out to Eric X, by the way, who modeled a lot of this. I said, let's make a tourism mode Starship once I saw the Inspiration 4 mission with 4 people on it. Everybody needs like a sturdy flight chair that's gonna, move and especially during the G-forces of re-entry, you gotta not like pass out from the G-forces. So the chairs have to like all be special and move and be comfortable. These chairs were modeled by Eric X and I, and they're meant to match the Dragon chairs, that they had on the Inspiration 4 mission. So with 146 paying customers, you've got $38,000 each. Let's just say $40,000 per customer for like a 3-day journey in space. Now, the $5 million price that SpaceX and Elon Musk are aspiring to achieve for Starship launches probably aren't for like 3-day long orbital missions. They're, are talking about launching payload to space. You pay $5 million if you want to put 100 tons into low Earth orbit. So that right there is insane. But yeah, so this is our 146 paying customer version of the Starship with tourists in it. Now, what we decided to do was to put these railings in and actually remove some of the floor. So you see this floor down here, every floor had this space basically. And what I wanted to do was open up the Starship. I would love to be standing right down here and jump off of that floor and float all the way up. Oh man, I would be so excited to just take a trip on this thing. SpaceX, if you use my idea, you got to bring me on the trip. The railings, by the way, we put right above each window so that you can go up to the windows and hold on. I'm just going to remove all the windows just so that you can see the idea here with all of the space that you get to float around. If you're going to go to space, don't you want to like have a nice area to float around? Obviously, you also have this area up in the nose as well. I don't know why I'm saying obviously, but I think, I find that as a given because of the original SpaceX concept art that showed the big, wide open, empty space. We put this little spine kind of in the back here so that, you can get some more storage. And I was really thinking about putting overhead bins below each of the floors. Oh, there's a floor just missing here. Well, that's not good. Let's get another floor in there. So, I got these railings. I'm kind of psyched about the railings. The ones, in the front. There's also railings on each deck that, just when you're boarding, you're going to be standing up in gravity. My idea was to have a door down at this level right here. This is deck 2, I would call this. I would call this deck number 1. And then, there's literally a ladder in the elevator tunnel. It would also be nice to have an elevator, but that is going to be determined by the payload mass. Right now, I'm 100% sure we're under 100 tons total. But, there's more constraints than just 100 tons for like a normal payload mission, because you're going to spend a certain amount of time in space. You got to, bring batteries with you. You got to bring food for everybody. You got to bring, obviously, life support for everyone. There's an interesting debate on whether it's worth it to recycle life support for just 3 days. And I'm like 99.9% sure that the answer is no. You just bring as much oxygen and carbon scrubbers as you would need, and that'll be much cheaper than having, and cheaper delta V wise, in terms of cheaper like for payload mass, than having recyclable everything. I've reserved some space up here for all of the stuff. There's going to be so much stuff that I forgot that are just going to go up here. Avionics, for example, computers, life support. That can all go up there. Down here, we have what some would call the poop deck. 146 people need to use the bathroom, and they need to use it well. They also need to sleep, which is another thing. And I'm just going off of the reports from the Inspiration 4 mission that we've heard about. Sleep actually wasn't mentioned as being a big deal, but bathroom use was. So you need a couple bathrooms, I think. I have this whole deck here. I put the cover around it because, like, you can imagine bathrooms right in front where that would block our view of the seats behind. And I did put seats here. These seats would be for the staff. We're talking about maybe 8 space attendants, flight attendants, space attendants. Somebody's got to take care of all these 146 people, right? Now, one of them, maybe not down here, maybe there's 8 attendants, and then somebody up at the top here is going to be, the captain and the pilot, You got to have somebody in charge. You got to have people taking care of people, and you got to have a place to use the bathroom. You got to have a place to eat, and you got to have a place to sleep. And I think the best way to do this, and let me know if I'm wrong down in the comments section, is to eat and sleep in your chair. And no eating should be permitted anywhere besides in your chair, because it can get messy. And each chair is obviously equipped with the ability to adjust for those high G-forces when you're in re-entry and you're launching. I almost said splashdown. Inspiration 4 splashdown. This mission will probably be one of the first types of missions to propulsively land humans on Earth. We've propulsively landed humans on the moon, but we have not propulsively landed humans on Earth yet to this date with just propulsion. The Soyuz capsule, when it returns from the International Space Station, does use like a burst of thrust right when it's hitting the ground. But I digress. All eating should be done in these chairs. Each one should be equipped with its own vacuum. Plugged into what you're seeing, the chairs are all mounted on these mounts that have hookups for the entertainment systems. Each chair should have its own entertainment system. And maybe these chairs in the top should be even more luxurious. I recently was lucky enough to fly on a Delta One flight, and they did have foot pedals to flush the toilet, which was nice. And they also had leg room that was kind of staggered, where the person in front of me was sitting to my left, and my feet went into a compartment next to them on the right side of them, and their feet went into a compartment next to the person in front of them on the left side of that person. They had fold-out tray tables that were stowed really brilliantly. The controls were pretty cool for the seats. These seats do lay down completely flat, and, your feet just go right into that little compartment there, and that's super, super nice when you need to get some shut-eye. Now, having pods would be really, really nice, but it's going to be weird to choose where they go, because, you don't want them near the bathroom traffic if the bathroom's on the lowest deck, and you do want the bathroom on the lowest deck, like that I'm sure of. If you put pods up here on the highest deck, then you're kind of like have no privacy, and pods are all about the privacy. I do think the highest deck is like the best seats. You want the best headroom. Sleeping is going to be an issue pretty much no matter what, unless we put sleeping closets for everyone. And of course, you could have everybody pay, instead of $40,000, $80,000, and have half as many people and have sleeping closets. Sleeping closets don't have to be big in space. You're sleeping, 2 nights, maybe 3 if you do like a 4-day trip. You could extend a trip, do a 7-day trip in low Earth orbit. That would be exciting. I would take a 7-day trip. I don't know about taking anything longer than that as a non-astronaut person. I'm not going to do hours and hours and hours and hours of exercise in zero gravity. Matter of fact, no one's going to do that on this trip because this is a tourism trip and everybody's trying to just have a good time in space and look at beautiful views of the Earth. So sleeping, that was another thing that me, Eric X, our patrons, we all wrestled with. We came up with that you got to sleep in your chair. It's not great. Honestly, it's really not great. It's like military style. I'm pretty sure it would have to be with 146 people where it's like lights out time. You're only allowed to get up to use the bathroom. Really sucks to have so many rules. You know, you have to eat at your chair. You have to sleep at your chair during certain times. I'm sure sleeping medication can be offered to everyone. I have a feeling that astronauts already have it at their disposal. I would certainly want it. For sleeping, if I'm going to space, I'm going to want to be able to take something that makes me go to sleep because I'm going to want to wake up at the time I'm supposed to wake up and do whatever I'm supposed to do, even if it's a tourism mission and I'm not like doing science experiments. People need to sleep. They need to sleep comfortably. And it's not, you know, a rule for like productivity or anything like that. The rule for sleeping is that you got to not wake everybody else up. There can't be a ball game going on up in the nose section during the sleepy time. And everybody has to sleep at their chairs. Now, it might be the best way to do this to just have it not cost $40,000 and to just have it be like an $80,000 trip or $100,000 trip with half as many people where you have sleeping closets on 2 of the decks or 3 of the decks. You could fit them in cool ways. You can actually fit sleeping closets in more efficiently than you can fit these chairs in because these chairs have to have room to recline and sit up because there's different G-forces in different directions with the Starship flight as it does its belly flap maneuver and everything like that. Shall I show you the first class version of this? Here's the first class version of this. Ready? Boom. That's the first class version of this. You open it up, and this many people get to split $5 million. Yeah, this is how much space is in a Starship, and this is the vision that Eric X and I have had for Starship tourism, where regular civilians can take trips into Earth orbit and really be on top of the world. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and open your mind and reach for the star.